Championship stays in the USA for round 2, and we move to the Road Atlanta circuit in Georgia. 2.54 mile Grand Prix road course features 12 challenging turns, including the famous S's and a tricky turn 10 complex. On the long back straight, we should see some exciting slipstreamy action from 35 cars. Fasten your seatbelts, this should be a cracker. Welcome to a lap of Road Atlanta. As across the start line, 125 miles an hour heading to turn 1, down 2 gears to 4th. Turning nice and early, slide the car through the apex, carry as much speed as you can up the hill towards the second complex. Third gear, try and clip the curb on the inside, but don't hit it too hard. Then try and get the power on nice and smoothly. Head down the hill, staying on a nice smooth line through the chicane to the hardest turn on the track. Third gear, turn in early, but don't turn too hard and get the power on smoothly. Use all of that curb on the exit. Next we have a tricky turn down 2 gears to third, turning nice and smoothly. Try not to clip the curb, to send the car sideways, then down second gear, slowest corner on the track. Important to get a good smooth quick exit without you running off the curb. Get a good exit with good speed down the straight. Winding up down the long straight into 6th gear, we should get up to in excess of 130 miles an hour before you pick your braking point for the final chicane. Great car, and you've got to try and ride the curves as much as you can, staying within the bounds. Second gear, nice and smooth. Up over the crest of the hill, the car will go a little light, make sure you're turning across it. For the final turn, which is easily flat out, you can easily use a little bit of curb on the exit. That's a lap of Road Atlanta.
Good evening everybody, and welcome to Road Atlanta for Division 1 of the GRC Season 7. This is round 2 of the championship. After a very exciting first round, is back at Laguna Seca, looking to stay in North America now. Have another exciting round across in Atlanta this time. So very similar sort of track to the last time around. Again, it's lots of flowing curves and one really long back straight down the back, so good opportunity for overtaking. We are looking for some good close racing. As we've seen with the mod so far this season, it's very close both in Division 1 and Division 2. Some good wheel-to-wheel racing all the way through the races. So hoping for more of the same this time out. We've got about 5 minutes until qualifying gets underway, so we'll take a quick look at the championship standings. First place in the championship, the one win in the last round, is Emmanuel Gaxella, last year's champion. Second place, after what he said himself was his best GRC race meeting ever, Dave Carr-Smith. Finished on the podium twice. He's second in the championship at the moment. Martin Palm was our other race winner. Unfortunately, his first race was messed up by a poor qualifying, but his second race he managed to run away and score a victory. Martin Palm's in third place in the championship. Jack Keithley is a highest front wheel drive car. He battled well in both of the races last time out, but unfortunately lost a few positions towards the end. Jack Keithley's in 4th in the championship. 5th we've got Nick Rowland. Then we've got Sean Stroud, Joaquin Perez, Ryan Gilmore, Eduardo Canada and Ivan Iglesias round out the top 10 of the championship. So only one round under their hats at the moment, so it's still all to play for definitely in the fight for this season. Also another thing to take into consideration for this round of the championship, we're bringing in weight penalties where the top 8 drivers of the championship have to carry success ballast for their points. The leader of the championship gets a 40 kilogram weight penalty. So Emmanuel Gaxella is going to be carrying 40 kilograms extra weight around for this race, and it goes all the way down to 8th place, basically on how many points they're behind. It's quite a complicated method of working it out, sort of working the average between first having 40 and 9th having 0, and then the average weight in between. So it turns out that Dave Carr-Smith has got 33 kilos, Martin Palm has 31, Jack Keithley has 13, Nick Rowland 11, Sean Stroud 8, Joaquin Perez has 5, Ryan Gilmore in 8th has only 2 kilograms. So it's hopefully going to slow Emmanuel Gaxella down a little bit and allow some others to keep up with him. It's also hopefully going to get some of the people that were just off the pace in the last round. They'll have a bit of advantage here and be able to keep up with the leaders a little bit more. Just bringing in a chance of an even tighter championship towards the end. Obviously it's something that all the drivers have to take into consideration over testing. Again, a very normal format, very similar to all the other GRC races that we run. It's 2 races this evening, 20-minute sprint race, followed by a 40-minute feature race. This also include separate qualifying sessions for both of these. Both run under Part Thermate, so they have to run the qualifying session with the race fuel that they're going to run. So definitely sometimes comes in for a mixed up grid, especially as it's a one lap, one shot qualifying, well, an out lap, a fast lap and an in lap. So if you mess that up, you can end up right down the back of the grid. So it's definitely looking for an exciting race so far this championship. We're looking at times of 1 minute 31 at the moment in practice. Not sure if those are on race fuel or not, because in practice obviously it's not limited. Just starting the driver's briefing now. Again, it looks like the rear-wheel drive of the Lexus and the BMW seem to be dominant, though Jack Keithley in his Astra is definitely able to get within the mix, and it might help him that he has a less weight penalty, only 13 kilograms compared to the 40 that Emmanuel Gaxella has at the front. So hopefully he can stay in the fight a bit longer this time. The normal names up near the front, so similar names to who were fighting at the front of the races last time. Ryan Gilmore, Jack Keithley, Ivan Glazius have all set fast times so far. So we're just in the driver's briefing now. Shouldn't take a few minutes and then we'll be underway with qualifying for the first race. 10-minute session, as I mentioned before, just one shot qualifying, and it's all or nothing whether you make it in to a good place on the grid, whether you mess that one lap up, ends up down the back. Good field today. We've got 27 cars present here. It's not quite as full as it could be. A few notable absences. There seems to be no Robert Fakes and Matt Gray, both out of the same team. So Revolution Motorsports, one of their BMW teams, is missing, unfortunately. Another thing to note, that Dave Carr-Smith has actually gone under some surgery in the last week, so he's not expecting the great weekend that he had last time out. He's looking more down his limitation, and he's saying he's going to be lucky to be in the points, and also lucky to remain in second place in the championship come the end of this meeting tonight. So best of luck for him, and hope that he has a speedy recovery, can definitely get back into the fight soon. They're saying that, just coming out of hospital the other day, he ended up finishing 5th in the pro race at FSR over the weekend. So how much he's sandbagging, I don't know, have to wait and see, but not expecting the fireworks we saw from him last time out. We've also had a bit of a glint round with the pit stops over the since the last round last week. A lot of the drivers saying that it's messing them with their strategy a bit, how long the pit stops are. So I think the pit times have been lowered a little bit, and I'm not sure exactly the way it's been worked out, but it might be down that they've been able to qualify, change tyres and fuel at the same time now, as they were done at separate times for the last race, which definitely something else to think about in the tactics. So it looks like we're about to move into qualifying now. The weight penalties being applied. Final good luck messages between all the drivers. Nice to mention, good to see the sort of chief admin for this GRC series back, Alex Swarzuk. He's come back from his extended holiday in the States just in time for round 2 of the championship. And in fact, he looks like he's going to be one of the first people on the track for this session. Make sure he waits for the red lights at the end of the pit lane. We'll see if we can follow Alex round on his warm-up lap. We'll see if we can sit on board for a minute and take you round this Road Atlanta circuit. Just weaving just to warm his tyres up a little bit. It's fast right-hander on the top of this crest here, just going to ride over the curb just right, not to imbalance the car, and then it's a very up and downhill circuit. It's normally a good flat out section here, and then just brake, and you'll normally see the drivers riding over this curb like Alex has done here. This is the first sort of medium length straight on the circuit. You come up, and then there's a 2 but quite tight right-handers here, sort of the top end point of the circuit, and then an even tighter second one. So you've got to get a good run out of there, as this is a very long straight now, all the way back down to the start of the circuit. It's a good opportunity to get some slipstreams, and if you get your car set up nicely for some top speed, you can overtake a few people down this straight into the tight chicane we've got at the end. So downhill braking for this chicane. Brake quite early this time. It's only a warm-up lap for Alex at the moment. He doesn't want to throw the car off. It's unsighted crest over here. This is the final turn. Go over the blind crest, round the sweeping right-hander, full throttle for most drivers, and he starts his lap, and then the first right-hander again, and this is where he joined the track last time. So we'll see what sort of times Alex can throw up as a benchmark for everyone else to follow in this session. And very controlled lap so far, but lack of tyre smoke and riding over the curb. This is an important curb, don't want to go too wide, you'll end up in the gravel, and then over the gravel into the tyre wall behind the gravel trap there. Down now to the tight double right-hander at the top of the circuit, and onto the long straight. chance for the drivers to relax a little bit in qualifying. Just put your foot down and make sure you keep down the middle of the track. And you've got to move to the right hand side as he starts heading down the hill. So he's lined up for the racing line through the chicane. Heavily on the brakes down here. Alex jinks left and right through the chicane. It hits the curves nicely around the final bend, and we'll see what his time is. The first time of this section is a 1 minute 32.8. It's a fairly competitive time from Alex, I think. He's instantly be beaten by Pritvalza in this ESD Racing Lexus with a 132.7. Right, now we're looking at one of the few Skoda entries in this championship. Mats Hagman, SRM Skoda, is just about to finish his flying lap as well. He rounds the last bend, crosses the line, he moves into third place, 133.1. So some very close times here, all three of these within 0.4 of a second at the Next driver's Mike Wrightson is up 2/10 on the second split, just the final corner to contend with now. So Mike Scott hits the curbs nicely and indeed goes into first place, not by 2/10, so he lost a bit of time. He 132.7, only 0.02 of a second faster than Pritvalza in second at the moment. But all in all, a good lap for him. Daniel Beck now coming up to the chicane towards the end of the lap. He locks his wheel up a bit there, might have slowed down his entry unfortunately into that chicane. Daniel was looking to be one of the front runners in this year's championship. He crosses the line. He's only in fifth, so that lock wheel did cost him a bit of time, 133.8. We've also had Francisco Rodriguez cross the line since then. It's the 6 drivers to have set a time so far. Francisco Rodriguez is in 6th at the moment. Mark Gravitt, the one and only Volvo entry in Division 1 this year. My team boss. For ADUR Racing. It's good to see the Volvo getting at least a little bit of a representation here. Good strong car, should make good progress down the straights here. And again a very nice stable car. Yeah, just a quick note, Simon Menuis looks like he's messed up his qualifying lap somewhere. He's going to be at the back of the grid. He was at the back for race 1 last time out and didn't get much from there unfortunately. But here following Mark still as he goes round the final bend. See where he ends up. He ends up in 5th, so good lap for Mark at the moment, 153.2. Hoping for mid-grid. We've also had RP McMurphy set a time since then. We're now looking at Luke Van Camp in the Stigline Lexus. Again, just finishing his lap through the final chicane. So, interesting to see that Luke's looking forward to rFactor 2. Got a logo for that. He goes into 4th place, 133.0. So again, a good time for him. Other times we've had since we've been away, we haven't had many other times actually. Raoul Pons is the only other one to set a time. Is in 11th, 1:34.3, so obviously made a little mistake on that lap for Raoul Pons. Oh, quick note, Keithley's just gone pole at the moment. So he's just been disqualified for whatever reason. I think that might be a bug with the mod, unfortunately, so he should still be on pole. There's a 1:31.9 he did. Rhino Canada's gone second at the moment. Barney Fox now looking at Team Fog. He's got a bit of traffic behind him, but definitely nothing in front of him, so he should still get a clear lap. Just over a minute and a half left in this session. So everyone now should be out, getting round to start their flying lap. So Barney Fox again heavily braking down into the final chicane. Up the little rise over the blind crest, gets a little bit sideways on the grass on his way out. Might cost him a little bit of a time as he runs down this hill, down the final corner. Barney Fox ends in 6th place. 1:32.7, so it didn't affect his times that much. Now we're looking at Dave Carr-Smith, the CSG racing team. As we mentioned earlier, he's still recovering from surgery. He's got still a long way in his lap. It looks like a few of these drivers are getting disqualified, so I assume the lap count is not quite working. Manuel Gaxella and Mark Jones have also been disqualified, though they have set times. It would be unfortunate if Gaxella doesn't get his time. But Dave Carr-Smith still going around. He's now at the top of the circuit, back onto the long straight down the hill. Put the power of this Lexus motor to good use. CSG Racing, actually named after Carr-Smith. So Carr-Smith, Stroud and Gilmore Racing is what CSG stands for. So over this blind crest again for Carr-Smith, round and over the line any second now. He'll join into 11th place, so as expected he's not the fastest. Michael Murphy for ADUR's moved into 3rd place, the one we've been watching this, and Pedro Melim for CSG into 8th. Got Jack Nichols now on a lap, normally a commentator for, or previously a commentator in GRC. I think he's done the voiceover for all the track introductions. We'll see what time he can get out of this Astra. And Astra's not the best suited to this track here, but we'll see what he can do. Just the last bend to contend with. And over the line into 20 seconds. He's really messed that lap up somewhere. 1:35.8. It's really disappointing for him. And that looks like everyone's set a time. So Ryan Gilmore set a very good time as well. He's going to be near the front of the grid, a 1:32.1. If we can find some times for these disqualified drivers, 32.6 for Gaxella, so he's not going to be at the front. I think we'll put Jack Keithley in the front page, 1st place for the race, which is a good result for the Astra. I think a lower weight penalty might be paying off for him a little bit there. So DHR Fanatec driver getting into 1st place, 31.9. So some very close times definitely at the front of that grid. Just going to sort out these final drivers getting in the right place on the grid. We'll have a short warm-up session, final little warm-up. The drivers obviously are stuck in what setups they're going to run now. Indeed, Keithley's been moved to first position on the grid. So, well, good job for Jack. Daniel Gaxel is in fourth on the grid, so he's definitely still at the front, able to fight for the win here. Mark Jones has been moved to 19th on the grid, so not the best lap for him, unfortunately. Just waiting for one more of the disqualified drivers to get put back in. Just some confusion on the server as we've moved forward a session over who was the disqualified drivers. We've also got Joaquin Perez been moved into fourth place on the grid now, which will demote Gaxella back down to fifth. Got a few late entries coming in. Inaki Bidaga has come in, but his car's not set up quite right, so I don't think he's going to get that sorted for the start of this race. Right, then the warm-up's just ticked to naught, so any minute now we should be moving to the race. Should be a good close race. Hopefully the weight penalties do their job, keep this field nice and close together this time. Doesn't allow a few drivers to run off into the distance, so it's always good to see some of the talent shining through. Definitely a good chance to overtake in a few places around this track. Just waiting for the admins to do any final checks before we move off to the race. Again, final good luck messages.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
So there's the call for the drivers to form up on the grid. The race is set at 11 laps or 20 minutes, whichever happens first. So we'll have a quick run down through the grid once they start rolling around the formation lap. It's interesting to note Jack Keithley on the front, the only front wheel drive car, hoping not to get too bogged down on the front. The rear wheel drive cars definitely seem to get a much better start. Away they go on their formation lap. Jack Keithley's in first place on the grid. Ryan Gilmore made it to second on the grid, so good job for Ryan Gilmore. He's only in 8th in the championship at the moment, wasn't really in the battle at the front last time out, so we'll see if he can hold it there throughout the race. Eduardo Canada's in third. Again, he's one of the drivers that wasn't quite at the front, so it definitely looks like the weight penalties are taking a bit of effect here. Joaquin Perez is in fourth on the grid. Fifth is our championship leader at the moment, and last year's champion Emmanuel Geigfella. Fourth is Michael Murphy. Fifth is Mike Wrightson. Sorry, I'm out of count here. 7th is Mike Wrightson. 8th is Ivor Iglesias. 9th is Prit Valja. 10th is Barney Fox. 11th we've got Pedro Mellin. 12th Nick Rowland. 13th Alex Sorzuk in his first race of this year's championship. 14th Martin Palm is actually third in the championship, so again not the best qualifying for him unfortunately. See if he can do any better than in the first round last time out. 15th Luke Van Camp. 16th Pablo Martinez. 17th the recovering Dave Carl Smith. 18th Matt Hagman. 19th Mark Gravitt. 20th Mark Jones. That's 19th and 20th for ADUR. See if they can get through together. Then Francisco Rodriguez in 21st and RP McMurphy in 22nd. That's the two Revolution Motorsports guys together. Daniel Beck in 23rd. Francisco Rodriguez in 24th. Raul Pons 25th. And 26th and last on the grid is Jack Nichols. So, in fact Simon Mellish is behind him. Actually placed behind all the commentators and everything at the moment, a bit of space for him to make up. He's just coming over the final blind crest now to form up on the grid. He might get a bit of a downhill start here. It's a big field and a very short start-finish straight, so he's just forming up on the grid now. So it's time to have a look at our leader, Jack Keithley. There's the lights, we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, and we're away. Jack Keithley, as we suspected, gets a bit swamped off the front. Ryan Gilmore has taken an early lead here. Canada's got through, Perez has got through. Jack Keithley all the way down to 4th place at the moment. Gaxella's right behind him, hounding him to get through as well. I think it's been relatively clean so far, but this is the first braking zone at the top of this hill. We'll see if it looks like everyone's got through pretty cleanly here. Again uphill, got one of the SRM cars there, seems to have lost his front bumper. I think it's Martin Palm trying to make a good start, and unfortunately seems to have made contact with the back of some. It's a bit of a bottleneck, and we've got a spinner actually. Spinner coming into the tight bends at the top. Didn't quite notice who it was. Alex Gorzuk looks like one of them, and Pablo Martinez, the two that have spun during that. 26th and 27th for them at the moment. Unfortunate, as Guano Canada is coming up to the chicane for the first time in the lead. It's going to lead the first lap of this race, overtaking Ryan Gilmore somewhere through this lap. So we've got Jack Keithley's up to holding on in 4th now. He's actually made a bit of a gap between Ivan Iglesias and Emmanuel Gaxella. Taking the time of it. Gaxella's weight penalty obviously slowed him down a little. So the first 4 seem to be running away a little bit, and Jack Keithley's definitely got the pace here to overtake these 4. So Guano Canada in 1st, Gilmore 2nd, Perez is in 3rd, and Jack Keithley 4th. Then Ivan Iglesias and Gaxella seem to be running together before Pedro Mellon leads the best of the rest in 7th place at the moment. So again, it looks very clean apart from that at the first lap. A few people running a little bit wide, coming out of the tighter hairpin at the top of the hill. A long train in 18th place, 18th, 19th, 20th. They're going to go 3 wide. In fact, there's 2 lots of 3 wide going into the chicane. I don't think they're all going to fit in there. Jack Nichols takes the lead of that group with Mark Gravett just behind him. He's took advantage of going 3 wide there. Max Hagman's also involved in that, and RP McMurphy. It's in fact a very long train, going all the way from Jack Nichols back to Raoul Pons, and Simon Melius in 24th getting involved now. Again, Jack Keithley's made a couple of positions up actually at the front. He's passed Ivan Iglesias and Ryan Gilmore, so he's effectively we've actually lost one of the front 4. It's like Joaquin Perez was the driver that's had a little incident and come out of the top 4. In fact, 13th and 14th place, Nick Rowland and Martin Palmer getting a toe off each other. They were exchanging positions through the tight top. Martin Palmer with no front downforce at the moment, probably, so might be suffering from his grip. He's side by side with Nick Rowland now in 13th, and got the inside for the first part of the chicane. Side by side all the way through the chicane. A little bit of contact there, and they both spin. Oh, it's really unfortunate. Nick Rowland's facing the wrong way now, and the field's streaming past him. Martin Palm lost a position there as well to Mark Jones, but Really unfortunate for Nick Rowland there. And his front two are getting away from Ryan Gilmore now. Eduardo Canada's got Jack Keithley all over the back of him. See if Eduardo can hold on for the remains of the 20 minutes, 27% into the race now. Gilmore's actually falling back into the clutches of Iglesias and Gagzella behind him. So second on the grid, holding on to the third at the moment. It looks like Iglesias and Gagzella will come up and pass them. And then there's a long train, a lot of cars involved behind. Dave Carl Smith hasn't made a lot of progress off the grid. He's 10th at the moment, still in the points, so not all's lost. Again, actually, Martin Palm side by side with Priv Valdler, 14th and 15th place. And Martin lets Valdler go in front of him. This time, doesn't get side by side. In fact, out of our sights, Jack Keithley's battling. He's going to get past Eduardo Canada for the lead now. Side by side up the hill they go. Keithley's got the inside here, but Eduardo will have the inside for the next, and Eduardo holds on to the lead for the time being. Downhill now. It's the tighter bend at the top of this hill that I think the front wheel drive car of Keithley's going to definitely get some advantage out of. Keithley's a bit far away. He's not got enough space to get in the slipstream of Eduardo Canada at the moment. But this is where he makes up all his time. He's going to get right behind him now. In fact, half a second the gap. So I don't know if he's as close this time to make a move into the chicane at the bottom here. And into the braking zone now. In fact, he's a long way back. So see if he can make any moves through here, make any pace up. Again, he's takes a slightly different line to Canada through that corner. But now third and fourth just behind them. Ivan Iglesias has made it past Ryan Gilmore, but Gilmore's looking to come back at him into turn one. This is sort of dropped Gagzella off there a bit, and Gagzella's having to defend from Pedro Melim in 6th place a little bit at the moment, but Gilmore's definitely keeping Iglesias honest in 3rd place. In fact, there's several groups of two all the way down this field. Canada and Keithley in 1st, Iglesias and Gilmore in 3rd and 4th, Gagzella and Melim in 5th and 6th. Don't know which battle to keep an eye on. Looks like Melim might have a bit of a run in the slipstream of Gagzella here. The weight penalty of Gagzella means he can't accelerate as fast as Pedro Melim, who doesn't have any weight penalty. Gagzella looking to defend, he's going to go. In fact, Gagzella's letting Melim go in the inside. Melim's got that position, he's clean in front of him before the braking zone even, so weight penalty and the slipstream paying off. Still Ryan Gilmore keeping Iglesias honest in front, and the gap between Keithley and Canada in the lead has dropped again, 0.4 of a second as they crossed the line that time. So Keithley, Canada seems to be sliding a little bit now halfway through this race. Tyre wear shouldn't really be a big issue yet, but Canada's back end of his car just steps out a little bit through some of these corners, which is slowing it down. over the curb there. Keithley's got a good run up to the double right-hander at the top of the hill here. He's not going to stick his nose in there, but he's up the inside for the next one as well. And he's going to have a good run. He's lost a couple of drivers actually, Barney Fox and Francisco Gutierrez. Worth a note that. In fact, Keithley's dropped back off Eduardo Canada again a little bit here. Canada with no weight penalty might be a bit of advantage to him, whereas Keithley has got 13 kilograms. Now, just looking at 5th and 6th again, Pedro Melim's got Dagzella all over the back of him. He's got through a couple of laps ago, but he's still fighting to hold on to that 5th position. Mike Wrightson actually 7th and 8th. Mike Wrightson and Joaquin Perez, 2 BMWs side by side coming up the hill as well. So might be interesting battle with another pair of drivers, 7th and 8th now. Also got 3 cars, 9th, 10th and 11th. Dave Carl Smith has lost another position down to 11th now, though he's looking to get round Michael Murphy. Going to get a slipstream up. Luke Van Camp's stretched his legs a little bit in 9th place, but in fact Carl Smith's missed his run up a little bit, and he's going to have Prit Valja all over the back of him, so 4 cars getting involved in the track. Again, actually looking back at first, Jack Keithley's taken the lead just, but they're side by side through the chicane. Keithley sort of squeezes through the inside there. Don't think he's going to be able to run away from Eduardo Canada. He's a very similar pace throughout this race. Keithley leads his first lap of the race on lap 8, and again Canada's straight up the inside of him. A little bit of contact. Keithley doesn't expect him to be there, I don't think. And up the hill they're side by side again. This is the section of the Corso that this Astra seems to do well on. Just able to get the power down through the front wheels and get a car pointed in the right direction. In fact, Canada's carried a lot of speed up that hill, and he's going to get side by side again all the way down this straight up to the double right-hander. Not able to get through at the first one, but he's inside for the second one. Just a little tap on the back corner to let him know he's there. This battle's actually letting Ryan Gilmore catch up again. Ryan Gilmore's made it past Ivor Glazius unseen by us, so he's back into 3rd place. He's catching these leading pair now who are battling amongst themselves, so pretty soon we might have a 4-way battle. So Dave Carr Smith's had an incident. He's spun and dripped all the way down to 18th place now, so unfortunate for Dave Smith, but back to the lead again as Jack Keithley's held on to the lead for a whole lap. 73% of this race completed now, 82 actually. Just jumped another lap, 9 laps out of the best. A few other drivers. Simon Meliwish is another driver to have lost on this one. Oh no, we've got a driver facing the wrong way here. Mark Gravitt's out of the race due to suspension, and I think Dave Carr Smith was facing the wrong way after the chicane, so caused a big incident for him, and he's down in 23rd and the last of the runners still. After that little incident, we're back to the first place. Iglesias has got past Gilmore again in third, so third and fourth seem to be swapping positions lap after lap. And Jack Keithley in Armada Canada's going to look up the outside, heading up to the chicane, as Gilmore gets side by side with Iglesias behind. So Gilmore's got the inside, Keithley's got the inside. Keithley just manages to hold on to the position, I think. Little flash of the lights from Canada there. He's getting a bit frustrated behind the wheel of that Lexus. And Gilmore again has got through past Iglesias, so a good race for Ivan Iglesias and Ryan Gilmore fighting third and fourth. Got one lap to go now. This is the final lap. Keithley's made a bit of a gap, 0.7 of a second as they cross the line. Canada just needs to not worry about Keithley flashing his lights at him. In fact, Canada's sliding his car through all these left-right kinks down the hill, and then up the hill, slides right onto the gravel. Ryan Gilmore also as well. And Ryan Gilmore's sort of gapped Ivan now, so I don't think that position's likely to change. Gaxella's got past Joaquin Perez. So he's clear in fifth now. That Canada's in the slipstream again, down to the chicane for the final time. Canada's made to go around the outside. Keithley knows that his shorter route on the inside here. He's managed to hold him before. In fact, Canada's squeezing him across, so he's right on the wrong line. But again, Keithley gets in front of him. Cuts back to take the racing line. Canada can do nothing to answer back, so good race finish there. Jack Keithley's going to cross the line and take the checkered flag. 17 minutes and 8 seconds his time. Jack Keithley first, Eduardo Canada second. Ivan Iglesias makes it through again to third place in front of Ryan Gilmore. Gaxella's is fifth, Joaquin Perez sixth, Mike Wrightson in seventh, Luke Van Camp, Prit Fowler, Michael Murphy, Mark Jones, Martin Palm, Daniel Pedro Melim, Max Hagman, Jack Nichols. So Max Hagman in the last of the points paying positions in 15th, then Jack Nichols, Francisco Rodriguez, Alex Souza, Nick Rowland, Raoul Pons, RP McMurphy, and the last of our finishes. Still a long way to go actually. Looks like he's got big damage to his car, is Dave Carr Smith. In fact, the leaders are going to come up and lap him on his, while he's still racing. So, good exciting race there. Lots of close battles in what seem to be pairs all the way through the top half of the field at least. And Jack Keithley coming out on top, Ivan Iglesias coming out on top of their pairs, and Gaxella coming out on top of his. So good race, the first race win for a Astra in this Division 1 championship. Dave Carr Smith now comes over the line to complete this race. So that's going to close this championship battle up a bit. Jack Keithley was in fourth before this race, moves up one race win, making his first race win of the season. Eduardo Canada's going to jump right up to second place, same as Ryan Gilmore, who was in 8th. So take a short breather here while we prepare for the second qualifying session here.
grid. Will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
Alright, hello everybody again, and welcome back to the GRC Season 7, Round 2 of the Division 1 Championship. We're just about to begin qualifying now for the second race. 10-minute qualifying session, one flying lap, and that time counts towards your grid. Part therme rules in effect. See who we've got coming out first. Emmanuel Gaxella, I think, will be one of the first guys, our championship leader. Also got Pritvalja leaving the pits, and Martin Palm as well. So, the two race leaders from the first time out, Martin Palm and Gaxella, getting out for qualifying early on in this session here. So we'll see what Gaxella can do. I actually edited the laps allowed for this. Still only one flying lap, but it should resolve all the disqualification problems we had in the first round. Gaxella now having to slow down a bit because the two guys in front of him are weaving about on the surface. Right, so here we go with Emmanuel Gaxella, championship leader, starting his flying lap. See if he can get any higher up the grid than he did last time out. So still carrying the 40 kilograms of weight penalty. He's not helping him, and he's actually run very wide up the first corner. He's well off the track, so that's his lap messed up a bit there. It's going to cost him probably a second, I would have thought, that mistake there. It's really unfortunate for Gaxella. See, wide over the curb, coming up the hill. See, get a nice clean lap. Again, looking for, and the pole time for the last race was a high 1 minute 31. So, see if he can get down anywhere near that after that big mistake through the first section of corners. Got a good clean track in front of him, and Martinez and Perez just behind him. Gaxella now comes down towards the heavy braking zone for the chicane. Just about to get the first people to cross the line any second now. Pritvalja goes into first with a 33.0. Then Martin Palm. Emmanuel Gaxella will be the third across the line. Yeah, actually, it was a very costly mistake. A 134.4 is going to put him right near the back of the grid. Joaquin Perez goes into third with a 33.9. In fact, we've got the disqualification problems again. Gaxella's been disqualified. I think these guys need to learn that they need to finish their in-laps, or it's going to mess up the qualifying. We're now following Pablo Martinez on his hot lap. Got Perez right behind him. These two have been fighting near the front for some of this season so far. Let's see what times they can pull out. Yeah, Martinez is definitely giving a bit of a draft, I think, to Perez behind him. So it's going to improve Perez's time quite considerably. So we've got both of these going over the crest for the final hill. In fact, Perez pulls into the pit, so he had already set his time actually. Martinez goes second with a 32.6. So Daniel Beck seems to have messed his lap up a little bit. He's set no time, so he'll be at the back of the grid. Luke Van Camp is on a flying lap now, and he's just started his lap actually, heading through the twisty first section, down the hill now. Got a few other drivers set the time. Ivan Iglesias has moved into third. Martin Palm's gone fastest still. Mats Hagman's in fifth, Mark Gravett in sixth. Now Luke Van Camp just heading onto the long back straight. I want to give him a draft down here, see where the Stigline Lexus can end up after this lap. Just to note that Francisco Rodriguez has actually set 2 flying lap times, so he might be demoted to the back of the grid after that. So he's still at the back of the grid with a 34.1. Now Luke Van Camp comes across the line, moves into 5th position, 33.2. So we've got Eduardo Canada now 2nd place in the last race. Seemed to be getting a bit agitated with Keithley towards the end of the race. Just driven past his teammate Ivan Iglesias coming around the final bend. He moves into pole position so far, 32.3, it's a good time for him. So Keithley's on a lap though, pole position last time and winner. So he had to make hard work of it. He's just starting his flying lap. Actually, down coming through sector 1 now. So through sector 1 he's 1 tenth down unfortunately, so he's got his work cut out to pull his way for pole position again. Over 2 minutes left in this session now, and Keithley's heading his way down the back straight. Still Canada the time to beat. He's lost quite a lot of time though by the looks of it through this lap, nearly half a second down. Doesn't look like Jack Keithley's going to get pole position this time, and indeed 3rd place. Did make up quite a lot of time in the final sector, 2.2 of a second behind. 132.6, but nowhere near the time from his first qualifier. Looking at Pedro Melim of the CSG team. had a good fight last time out, making it a reasonably high finish for him. Just onto the back straight again, ahead of him, and they allow this Lexus to do its work. It's quite an undulating straight actually down here. It's not quite as simple as a long flat straight. Not quite straight either. I have to put a little bit of steering input, but it's definitely all flat all the way along. The chicane at the bottom of the hill. Over the blind crest. On the final bend, and then across the line just after this bend. He moves into 9th position. Just look at Jack Nicholls again. He's got Dave Carr Smith right in front of him. Jack Nicholls comes across near the back of the grid last time out, unfortunately. Not quite as bad this time, 33.4, but it's in 15th for the moment. Dave Carr Smith moved into 30th. Nick Rowland crosses the line and actually moves into 3rd place, so a good time for him. It's knocked Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley's all the way down to 6th at the moment. Gilmore's just gone into pole position, so good lap for him. He was right at the front last time. So Daniel Beck failed to set a time. I think Francisco Rodriguez might lose his time. Gaxella's going to end up quite near the back of the grid as well. So definitely a mixed up grid here, and if Gaxella wants to hold on to the lead of his championship, he's got a big fight on his hands in this race. Yep, everyone's now finished their laps, so top of the grid looks like Ryan Gilmore, the driver of Canada, Barney Fox, Nick Rowland, Martin Palm, Raoul Pons. 7th place for our race 1 winner Jack Keithley, Mark Jones, Pablo Martinez and Ivan Iglesias in 10th place. So slightly messed up grid compared to championship standings, and this one lap qualifying definitely throwing up a mixed grid. Okay, and everyone, welcome back again. Just finishing off the warm-up here, waiting for the second feature race to get underway. Been joined now in the commentary box by Mike Lamb. Nice for you to join us, Mike, and you've missed that exciting first race. And don't know how much you saw of the first round of the championship, but definitely good close racing to look forward to.
Yep, hi Phil, and obviously nice to see you again, as you saw yesterday in FSR at the Italian Grand Prix, now back here on Road Atlanta, and yeah, the first round was very close and exciting, as you saw close performances all round and close racing, and even in Division 2 as well, and I haven't seen the race one of today, because we just got back in from work, literally jumped in there. And incidentally, I was just looking at Barney Fox, that was the first car I was focusing on, and he actually blew up his engine, so I don't know if he's trying to push the engine revs or something, but he definitely doesn't want to do too much of that in the race itself.
No, definitely not something we're used to seeing in GRC, probably just messing around with his gears, unfortunately. So, just waiting for one or two drivers now. I think Eduardo Canada's had some technical problems. It's due back in a second, so we don't normally hang around for long. So any second now I would expect we are heading into the second race of the evening.
Indeed, also we see the return of Alex Sorczak today after missing the first round, and he's been on pretty much a worldwide tour, safe to say, isn't it, Phil, recently, and he's only just got back from that, and I think he's mentioned before he didn't really want to come back, incidentally, and personally after such an extensive holiday, I'm not surprised.
No, I don't think, having seen some of his pictures, I don't think I would have wanted to come back particularly quickly either, so we're just waiting couple more seconds. Hopefully we'll get this race underway pretty soon. We have again seen a very exciting qualifying sessions, put a couple of drivers down the back that would expect to be near the front, Gaxella being one of them, so he's got a big fight on his hands to get through the grid here. Also got Jack Keithley not qualifying quite as high as he did in the first round, so he's got a few spots to make up, and Ryan Gilmore taking pole this time.
Indeed, and it shall be very exciting to watch and see what happens. Obviously, the Lexus this year seems to be a weapon of choice in Division 1. Quite a few cars that got it, along with the BMW, and obviously the Astra is front-wheel drive as usual with most GM cars, and similar to last year, the Skoda actually, Phil, only one or two drivers seem to have mastered it and got the best out of it.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Yep. As the drivers start to form up on the grid, looks like we've lost Francisco Rodriguez for some sort of technical reason. And Pablo Martinez as well, unfortunately, so a couple of drivers not making it to the grid. Really unfortunate for that. 7 seconds now to their away. I'm Pedro Mellin as well, so
yeah, very odd.
So, unfortunately, technical reasons, we've lost a few drivers. Waiting for some more guys to come back. And, it should be underway again, second time lucky for this race, hopefully. Right, we're getting 1 minute warning now for this restart, running a little bit behind schedule now, unfortunately. So final good luck messages going out for between all the drivers.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
As we're starting to form up. Oh, no. Another reason there. We're having to reset the grid one last time.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Alright then, third time lucky now for these drivers. They fall up on the grid. Hopefully, final time. Oh, no, it's going to be another restart.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
So, fourth time lucky then, I guess.
Well, it looks like hopefully it's fourth time lucky then, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of seconds until the start of the formation lap. Gilmore leads them away. Grid's set up well now. So Gilmore in Canada. Canada was the guy fighting for the lead in the last race. He's definitely got the advantage over Jack Keithley this time. Canada the highest driver in the championship with no weight penalty for this race. So we'll go through the grid since it's been a little while since qualifying. First is Ryan Gilmore, second Eduardo Canada, third Barney Fox, fourth Nick Rowland, fifth Martin Palm, sixth Raoul Pons, seventh Jack Keithley, eighth Mark Jones, ninth Pablo Martinez, 10th Ivan Iglesias, 11th Pedro Mellin, 12th Mike Wrightson, 13th Kurt Valger, 14th Luke Van Camp, 15th Dave Carr-Smith, 16th Matt Hagman, 17th Jack Nichols, 18th Francisco Gutierrez, 19th Mark Gravatt, 20th Alex Sorzuk, 21st Joaquin Perez, 22nd Michael Murphy, 23rd Daniel Beck, and 24th our championship leader after a poor qualifying Emmanuel Gaxella, and RP McMurphy is right at the back of the grid, 26th place. So good mixed up grid here, Mike. Hopefully we're looking for some good exciting racing.
Very much so, and incidentally you got about 5 Lexuses at the 4th Lexus, so at the front, and only Martin Palm and Raoul Pons being the minority of the BMW runners near the front. So it certainly seems like rear wheel drive being the flavour once again here at the American circuit, on the road at Atlanta. As the cars is just trying to get their heat at the last possible moment. A staggered grid, but it is certainly a narrow pit straight here, Phil, so need to watch out for any start line incidents that might occur with 25 cars jostling for decision or down to turn 1.
I think Ryan Gilmore looks like he overshot his pit. His grid slot a little bit. He's facing across the track actually, so looking to block Canada right from the beginning. As we go, lights underway and green light. Gilmore gets a lot of wheel spin off the line, which allows Eduardo Canada right in front. So in fact allowing Barney Fox to fight side by side with Ryan Gilmore into the first turn. Jack Keithley's got bogged right down. He's all the way down to 11th place at the moment. So not the best start from him. But Eduardo Canada's taken an early lead in this race. He pulled out quite a big gap.
We've got a big, sorry, no, we've got a big crash down the back. Max Hagman is off the track. Alex Solzak had an incident, and I'm hearing other crashes going on. Daniel Beck's lost his rear bumper, and one of the Astros, I can't see which one it is, I think it's Gutierrez, who's lost his front bumper as well, so a bit of a Constantino effect down the low end of the field through the chicane. And Ryan Gilmore is now got Martin Palm all over him. And incidentally, going back to Barney Fox, I was watching and he was creeping ever so slightly on the grid, so I wonder if it'd be interesting to see if he gets a penalty or not.
Yeah, it might be an interesting thing. In fact, Ryan Gilmore's back side by side with Barney Fox and Martin Palm, so it's going to be three wide into the chicane. It'll be very tight.
Nick Rowland's in the mix.
Gilmore, in fact, Barney Fox outbreaks himself and goes through, and they've spun Gilmore's facing the wrong way in the gravel, and
he's
looks like Ivan Iglesias as well.
Iglesias unison passing there, he doesn't know where to go.
Our pole position man, right at the back of the field now, is given Eduardo Canada a big lead, 1.7 seconds he's got over Nick Rowland now in second. Martin Palm, as you mentioned, is in the fight as well, but he's in third and being heavily trapped by Pablo Martinez. Barney Fox is behind them. He's the one that outbraked himself and seemed to maybe cause most of the trouble there, but not one to point fingers. Mark Jones for ADUR following in the sort of lead of the next pack, 6th place. In fact, it looks like Martin Palm, Pablo Martinez are going three wide again, just going single file through the double right-hander at the top here. It's going to be very close. Pablo Martinez has moved into third place.
Raoul Pons and Mark Jones going at it. The Jack Daniels sponsored Lexus, so I get my words correct here, going side by side down the back straight. Still side by side, and Barney Fox in turn is battling side by side as well with Martin Palm into the chicane. Fox has got the inside line, but as you saw last lap around, he outbraked himself. What did he do this time? Right, he gathers it all together, and Mark Jones is through as well. And Raoul Pons has lost 3 places as Jack Keithley and Luke Van Camp's in the mix. After that disastrous start from Jack Keithley and the Vauxhall Astra, he's recovering ground slowly but surely, and Mike Bryson's in the mix as well after starting quite low down the field along with Jack Nichols.
Yeah, Jack Keithley's inside. He's got another Astra of Jack Nichols right behind him, so he's got a good battle here. He's right behind Raoul Pons now. He's in turn right behind Luke Van Camp, so another couple of positions Jack Keithley might be able to make up, running in 9th after dropping down to lower than 11th, I think it was, in the first corner. So looking at our current championship leader, Emmanuel Gagzella, has made it all the way up to 15th place already, so really good start from him as well, and he's still looking to make positions. He's right behind Daniel Beck. But back in the lead of the race, we've got Emmanuel Eduardo Canada even is 1.4 seconds down in front of Nick Rowland, who's nearly 4 seconds in front of Pablo Martinez in third.
Just to report, Bill, Pedro Mellon was just spun and he's down to 23rd place now behind Ryan Gilmore, so after a promising start, he's just thrown it all away at the moment, but long race to go yet, so he couldn't make up ground.
So now we've got Barney Fox in 4th place, challenging is right over the back of the BMW of Pablo Martinez in 3rd. They climb their way up the hill, heading towards the sort of windy downhill section here at the end of Sector 1. See if Barney Fox can get a run out of this tricky left-hand corner up here, where they run very wide onto the outside curb. Barney Fox does look like he has got a bit of a run. He's going to get side by side as they come to the very tight double right-hander at the top of the hill, who's going to have to let Martinez back in front. So one at a time through there. Then Martinez got a little bit sideways. and it's going to give a chance for Barney Fox to have a run all the way down this back straight. It's right under the back bumper. He's going to get a good slipstream and able to get side by side. He's got to make sure he gets the inside. So Martinez is wise to that, makes him go round the outside. He's going to be on the outside for the chicane coming up. We'll see if he can. Who's the last of the late breakers? As Barney Fox actually cleared him before the braking zone.
Oh, 8th place, Luke Van Camp side by side with Jack Keithley. They're battling hard, barging each other at some points. There could be like 4 cars, nearly 4 abreast there. He come around the final corner. Jack Keithley, Jack Nichols and Raoul Pons, bumper to bumper as they cross the start-finish line into turn 1. Now this is not going to work. Raoul Pons is losing ground fast, and Jack Nichols goes up the inside. And Raoul Pons has gone too far off on the track, and he's on the grass. And he comes out just in front of Joaquim Perez, and that was tremendous observation by Perez to just about avoid him there, and from skill from Pond as well, trying to get the car back on track in a gap. So Keithley's escaped relatively unscathed, and now Van Camp appears to be holding up Nichols a little bit.
Looking at our leader now, I think Canada might have had a bit of an issue coming through sector 2, because Nick Rowland's right on the back of him. The gap was 1 second, and I think it's going to be a lot less than that. In fact, it's gone down to 0.8 of a second, so he's lost 2 tenths in that sector. So within a couple of laps, I think Nick Rowland's going to be all over the back of Eduardo Canada.
And Jack Nichols and Luke Van Camp, they were side by side down the pit straight, and who's that going off in the background? It's Prit Valier. And rejoining right back on the racing line, and that's cost Perez badly. But again, tremendous observation and by Perez there to avoid causing a collision. Perhaps a little bit naughty by Prit Valier, and Daniel Beck is trying to take the opportunity there and take the position into turn 1. Can he do it? No! And that's Gaxella. Oh, he has taken it, and Gaxella slipped through as well. So the championship leader is slowly making up ground. And Michael Murphy getting a bit twitchy in the Lexus.
Gaxella back to 14th now then, so continuing his move up. He's got a big pack in front of him, so if he can get through this lot, should be able to get back well in points. But again, Nick Rowland is right behind. He's gone up to less than half a second now, this gap. Eduardo Canada's got over Nick Rowland. Nick Rowland with a great chance of his first win in the GRC. Eduardo Canada's going to do the best he can to avoid that happening. They're side by side now, so they head down the hill, but Eduardo Canada's got the inside line. Canada holds on to the position for now. And it looks like a matter of time. Just wonder whether Nick Rowland's quite lightly fueled maybe for this race. Eduardo Canada seems to be going sideways through some of these bends, whereas Nick Rowland is definitely holding a slightly nicer line. In 3rd and 4th place now. Barney Fox is up the inside of Pablo Martinez. Gets a little bit sideways coming out of turn 1.
Oh, and 10th place. 10th place, Raoul Pons has just slipped past Jack Nichols in the Rice Racing Vauxhall Astra, down to 11th now, but he's trying to get that place back from Raoul Pons, trying to stick his nose up the inside of Raoul Pons' interior of the BMW, but can't quite make it. Now on the run down the back straight, and incidentally Mike Wrightson seems to be running a little bit slow at the moment.
Yeah, just noticed that Ivan Iglesias is out of the race. So unfortunate for him. Actually was in 10th in the championship before this race. So we'll see if we can find out what happens to him. And again, I think back in the lead, Eduardo Canada and Nick Rowland is gap's growing a little bit now. Whether Nick's just thinking he can sit behind him. Again, position 3 and 4 again, Barney Fox and Martinez. Fox has taken Martinez again somewhere on this lap, but Martinez is going to get the inside for the final turn. Hits the inside curve and actually nearly lifts 2 wheels off the road there. Barney Fox has to tuck in right behind him. It's almost pushing him down the start-finish straight there. And again, both of them go through turn 1 nearly as one car, I think. Barney Fox tries to cut the inside there and almost takes out Martinez, but it doesn't quite work, but that slowed Fox down, and Martin Palm's going to have a nice run on him now. Martin Palm in 5th in a BMW, is going to have a good run up the hill here to get side by side with Barney Fox going into the double right, and he's run slightly wide going through that bend as well. So let's put pay to that battle for a few.
10th place, Raoul Pons and Jack Nicholls. Raoul Pons still in 10th, but Jack Nicholls was very close to him indeed. But that battle was temporarily suspended, although they're about a 4-way train led by Luke Van Camp in the Stigline Lexus Racing. And obviously the Lexus and Mike Wrightson. Mike Wrightson is going to challenge him down the straight.
Yeah, just noticed that Michael Murphy's spun in the ADR Lexus. He's down to 19th place now, just being overtaken by Ryan Gilmore, and Joaquin Perez is out of this race as well now. So that's 2 retirements. So
yeah, just a quick report on
actually the leaders. Just looking at the leaders, they're closer than they've been so far. 0.2 of a second as they crossed the line that time. Nick Rowland's definitely looking to get through sometime soon. Fair, Eduardo Canada's not looking the most stable on here still. It's whether the heavier fuel load or anything. The big sideways movement coming out of that bend, which has allowed Nick Rowland to get right side by side with him as they go up to the double right-hander. In fact, they've through that sector gap, they've got exactly the same time difference. Nick Rowland takes the lead through that right-hander there, so good close racing there. Can Eduardo Canada carry on with the slipstream all the way down here and get it back in the chicane? Eduardo Canada had a few battles in the chicane with Jack Nicholls in the first race, Jack Keithley, sorry. Also lost Alex Sorzuk from this race as well. So it's side by side now. Canada's right in front of him. Nick Rowland's going to go round the outside, so nice move there by Nick Rowland.
Also in turn, Barney Fox and Martin Palm 5th place, and Fox just about retains the place, and Mike Wrightson 9th place, 8th place now. Side by side at Luke Van Camp round the chicane. Can he get the power down early enough? Yes he can. So the BMW of Mike Wrightson has overtaken the Lexus, or some would say the posh Toyota of Luke Van Camp in 9th place, and then there's the Vauxhall Astra of Jack Nicholls in 10th, who fancies his chances. He's out
Jack Keithley now. Sorry, Jack Keithley is trying to get through Martin Palm in 6th place. So he's sort of taken the spoils of the Palm-Fox battle.
Oh! Got a big crash by Francesco Gutierrez, and he's out of the race. And our first stopper is Ryan Gilmore. He's in the pits right now, up in 19th place, or 20th now.
Probably shows Ryan Gilmore with a very light fuel load to get near the front of the grid, and on pole position in fact, and it's all been messed up by that spin, so looks doubtful that he's going to get in points today. He's going to be very heavy on fuel. We're on lap 9 out of 22. As again Nick Rowland and Eduardo Canada slipstream each other down.
Yeah, and Nick Rowland retakes the lead, it seems, again. And sorry to butt into you there, Phil, but Luke Van Camp and Jack Nicholls going at it hard once again. Side by side down the back straight into the chicane, and Van Camp still retains the place, but Nicholls is trying very, very hard indeed.
And also
giving it all he's
Keithley's got through Martin Palm now. Keithley's up to 5th place, so he's on his battle back to the front of the field. He's got Barney Fox in front of him by about 1.5 seconds at the moment, 2 seconds nearly, so it's definitely a big battle for him to catch up with Barney Fox now. Fox is also all over Pablo Martinez in 3rd place. As again, the leaders are going side by side down the back, it's not the back straight, up to the double right-hander. They'll be very close around the back straight though. Canada's sort of being pushed a bit wide by Nick Rowland, though he follows the racing line. But he's going to be right in the slipstream here to be side by side again. So side by side they go. I think Canada might be in front by the time they get to the braking zone here, but he's on the inside, so he's definitely got the advantage going into this chicane. Heavy on the brakes, both of them. Nick Rowland doesn't. In fact, Nick Rowland's side by side as they're going to go round turn 1, final turn, and Canada's taken the lead of the race again. So this lead of this race changing every other lap now as Canada. Halfway through this race then we'll start seeing some of these guys in the pits pretty soon. Nick Rowland's obviously not as light as we might have originally thought, and this pace is pretty genuine, so we'll see if either of their pit strategies allow them to jump each other by any distance.
Yep.
Also Martinez and Fox right close together again for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, Jack Nichols just made his pit stop. And we'll stay with the leaders at the moment, between the battle between Eduardo Canada, who leads at this present moment, with Nick Rowland stalking him.
Yeah, Nick Rowland's got the chance of getting in the slipstream this time, and he's going to be made to go around the outside if he's going to get it at all. Side by side again into the braking zone. It's looking a bit too far back. Canada's got the advantage for that one, and he holds the lead for another lap. Half distance now, do either of these two come in? Nick Rowland pitted, so the 2nd place is pitted. Canada was slightly heavier on fuel at least. Long way into the pit entrance here, quite a narrow, twisty road. Barney Fox moves into 2nd, and Martinez is from 4th, is also in the pit. As we see a few of the others slower going through. Keithley's also in the pits as well. So the race leader from race 1. That's given Canada a 5-second lead now over Barney Fox, who's 3 seconds in front of Martin Palm, and they're starting to lap traffic. Emmanuel Gaxella and Prit Valier fighting hard with Daniel Beck right behind now as well. So Gaxella's still looking to climb up in 8th position as he is at the moment. Prit Valier is a bit wide there, so he's...
Sorry to interrupt you, Phil, but the big news, Pablo Martinez has leapfrogged Nick Rowland in the pits. So that's Martinez, and it's crucial for Martinez. He's come out just in front of the battle of Michael Murphy and RP McMurphy. So he's got to try very, very hard now to stay in front. There's about 2 cars separating him and Nick Rowland. And I got the 2nd one! RP McMurphy, there's a bit of bumping there, I'm sure of it! And Martinez is struggling to keep control of the car, he gets it back on track. But the gap that was between them is now null and void. Nick Rowland can smell the exhaust fumes coming out the back of that BMW. And he's going to try very, very hard to try and retake what it would be possibly the net lead of the race after the stop shakeout. But I need to look at that again, but it certainly looks like a bit of bumping and grinding there between Murphy and Martinez, and Michael Murphy is now in the mix. And he's trying to take McMurphy. Does he? Yes, no he doesn't. And Murphy's got it all wrong with the brakes. Murphy's going to try to slingshot, but there's just simply not enough acceleration between these cars, as they're very, very similar in performance. but Murphy's going to slingshot on the inside of the final corner. And back
they've got
from the
Jack
pits.
Keithley getting involved now as well. Jack Keithley's got in front of Nick Rowland after his pit stop as well. So Nick Rowland's obviously had a very slow pit stop for whatever reason, and Jack Keithley's looking to get in front of Martinez as well. And they get past Michael Murphy, who's put a tyre on the dirt on the outside, and they got RP McMurphy, the next one in front of them.
Meanwhile, Canada leads by 4.3 seconds now over Barney Fox. The top
Barney Fox is closing this gap slightly. He's come down over a second actually since in the last 2 laps. So whether Canada's filled right up and just waiting for his tyres to wear out before he pits.
It's underneath 7 to Nick Rowland the spun! Nick Rowland the spun! 14th place Nick Rowland! They're going in the first of the double right-handers, and unfortunately Nick was trying to take the wider line around the corner, and Jack Keithley drifted wide and he just tapped the front of the leg.
Canada's in the pits. Canada's in the pits, sorry Mike, but it's while the Canada pits. Barney Fox has taken the lead of this race now, so Canada obviously felt he couldn't hold on to the tyres much longer. Haven't got anyone else in around him at the moment, so he's falling down the positions. So Barney Fox leads now by 6 seconds from Mark Jones. We'll see if Canada comes out anywhere near Pablo Martinez, because
miles ahead.
It's actually quite a way clear. So Canada had a cleaner stop than obviously Nick Rowland did. And Martinez is still fighting with Keithley, but it looks like that could be for second place now instead of third that they were fighting for before. Keithley has definitely made good progress back up, because he's in a net third at the moment, actually 8th, so 9th on the grid, on the field at the moment, but still quite a few cars to stop in front of.
Yeah, to go back on the incident between Nick Rowland and Jack Keithley, as I was saying, going through the first double right-hander, Nick Rowland taking the wider line and Keithley taking the tighter, but drifted out wide in for the perfect line into the second right-hander, and unfortunately Nick Rowland's front end was just there, and the two made contact, which pushed Rowland onto the grass, and Rowland couldn't control the car on the grass. Did very well to, or tried to, but unfortunately he's half spun the car, which drops him all the way down to what was 14th.
Yeah, again our leader's in the pits. Barney Fox is in the pits now, so just as we watch Keithley and Martinez battle side by side. Keithley makes it through that position, so Keithley's sort of got net second in the race now. Barney Fox hasn't got underway yet as Canada goes past, so Canada retakes the net lead. He's still in 6th place. Mike Wrightson's in the pits as well. Mark Gravitt's still going. Gagseller, Luke Van Camp, and Mark Jones leads the race now for AUR.
It's going to be very close. So the buttons to you, Phil, but Jack Keithley and Barney Fox very, very close out the pits, and Keithley just about takes it. And Fox is on the colder tyres, of course. And Martinez
got the advantage of
having
warmed up his tyre. So, see who's in the pits. Nick Rowland's back up to 11th now. He's got Mike Wrightson right behind him after the so the top 4 so far have not yet pitted. Gagseller's climbed all the way from the back of the grid to 3rd, so he's still got to make a stop. He's got Gravitt running side by side with him down to the chicane at the bottom of the hill. Gravitt looks like he's comfortably got that position at the moment. Gagseller's wise enough to know not to contest positions like this, and he's back up the inside though, so hopefully these guys don't both need to pit. Otherwise, Gagseller's kept Gravitt out, but they both go through one more. In fact, all 4 still haven't pitted, so still 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th not pitted yet.
Incidentally, Mark Gravitt's the only Volvo representation in the feature race today here at Road Atlanta.
Gravit's the only Volvo registered for Division 1 at all, so at least it's represented a little bit here. So, as I said before, my favourite car of the mod, though I am driving the Astra Division 2 this year. Now looking at Pablo Martinez and Barney Fox are still having a bit of a battle for 7th and 8th, which might turn into 3rd and 4th after the top 4 have pitted. And Barney Fox is going to have a good run and a slipstream all the way down the back straight again. Going to get side by side hopefully into the chicane. I think Martinez has got to be wise to keep him on the outside. That Fox moves to the inside already. Side by side they come down the hill into the braking zone. And Barney Fox does make that position. Mark Jones is in the pits now from the lead. There's Gaxello, Luke Van Camp and Mark Gravitt will go through for one more lap at least. So Keithley now about 6 seconds behind Eduardo Canada. We're looking for second place in this race. Now the opposite way around to the sprint race, first time out. 77% of this race completed, 17 out of 22 possible laps. Again, Barney Fox and Martinez are still pretty close together in 5th and 6th positions now. Martinez has lost a little bit of ground.
Phil, incidentally, obviously this year the fuel tanks are big enough to carry enough fuel to finish the race, and tyres is very much down to driving style. And do you think it's possible the top 3 are going to try and gamble to the end with a non-stop, with albeit quite worn tyres now?
I think it is supposed to be a mandatory stop, and the tyres are designed. In fact, Mark Gravitt is the first of the top 3 to come in, so this allows Camp and Gaxella through. But yeah, as far as I know, even though it's not necessary that you need to fill up for fuel, the tyres should only last about 30-35 minutes, even with the best drivers maintaining them, and I think it's in the rules that you do need to stop
and change tyres.
So Jack Keithley now second. He's got Barney Fox actually catching up with Jack Keithley, 4th at the moment actually, and after the first 2 pit should move up another couple of positions, but Canada definitely looks like he's got this under.
Incidentally, the big loser in that round of pit stops was Dick Rowland. Obviously, he was right behind, and at some point, right in front of Eduardo Canada. Now he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places behind him after a slow pit stop and an incident with Jack Keithley. Although I would say that was a racing incident.
Yep, so Luke Van Camp on leader comes through again, and he again doesn't pit. Barney Fox and Jack, as I was saying, Jack Keithley has been caught by Barney Fox quite quickly actually. So Barney Fox now takes 4th or net 2nd in this race.
And in turn, Pablo Martinez is battling hard with Martin Palmer. I think Martin Palmer just slipped through the chicane. I only caught the end of that, but there's swinging bumpers down the pit straight and going into turn 1. It's too fast to make a move here. And sure enough, Martinez realised that, but he certainly does push the boundaries of that curb on the exit very, very wide indeed. And we've got 3 laps to go here, and it's all to play for the battle for 6th and 7th here. both BMWs, so it's all about driving skill and car setup. But we have seen today, Phil, Martinez's car is very much set up for almost drifting on the exits compared to Palm, who seems to keep the car comparatively in check.
Yeah, just a difference in style. Martinez still hasn't let Palm get away from him. They both get a little bit sideways through that slow right-hander there, though. Onto the back straight, they've run very wide. Martinez runs wide onto the grass on the outside, but that's lost any chance of a slipstream. Luke Van Camp, our leader's coming up to the pits again. See if he pits this. In fact, he's gone through again, so still no stop from Luke. Gaxella makes his pit stop, so Canada will move into second place on the road.
And Raoul Pons, incidentally, is right on the boot lid of Ryan Gilmore's rather pink and perhaps camp-looking Lexus into the chicane, and he decides against any kind of move as Ryan Gilmore defends the line. And as we've been mentioning, Phil, obviously Gaxella did start from the back of the grid, and he's going to filter back out in. It's going to be close between him and Mark Jones.
Next, Mark Jones. Mark Jones got the warmer tyres, so 9th place at the moment for Gaxella. He should be able to hold on to that position, considering the pace he has shown through the remains of this race. So they'd have a good amount of positions there for Gaxella. So the drivers have definitely spread out a long way here. Just Luke Van Camp's 4 seconds in front of Eduardo Canada at the moment. Now, I still think Luke Van Camp has to make a pit stop. Well, in fact, we know Luke Van Camp has to make a pit stops. I would have thought would bring him back out just in front of that Gaxella, so might make 8th position. He's pitting now.
Yep.
So a leader pits after a long lap and puts Canada back in the lead, comfortably in the lead actually. Barney Fox is about 5 seconds behind. Indeed, 5 seconds behind the leader.
Yep, time to start the hourglass of this pit stop. And he doesn't even stop, he just stops in his pit box. 1.5 second pause there, and that's what I was thinking. Maybe perhaps all you have to do is come in, stop in your box and go. You don't have to do anything, and he's going to come out right in front of Nick Rowland, and Nick Rowland's going to go for it. They're going to bank doors and front door handles, and Nick Rowland's so Van Camp! Nick Rowland's going to do lawnmowing, and Van Camp, he's flashing his headlights at Rowland. He's not happy, and he feels Nick Rowland should not have that place. And there's definitely some agitated Luke Van Camp there, so we need to keep an eye on that one. But this is the final lap, I believe, and Eduardo Canada is leading comfortably by 5.5 seconds steady from Barney Fox.
Yep, so it's going to be a good result for Eduardo Canada. He just got forced out at the end of the first race, but he's going to make amends of it and actually scored double points for the winning this race, so it's turned out well. Barney Fox has got Jack Keithley right behind him. Canada makes it through the chicane, around the final bend he goes, and he's going to cross the line and take his first win of this championship season. And flashes his lights, honking his horn in congratulations. Fox manages to hold off. Fox manages to hold off Keithley. Palms in 4th. Martinez sliding across the line in 5th. And Nick Rowland takes 6th in the end, but that might go down to a steward's decision after he cut that chicane. And Luke Van Camp might not be happy, though. To double check the rules and make sure that he was allowed to stop without changing tyres. I think it is in the rules, so just double check that at some point. Mike Wrightson is 8th, Gaxella in 9th, Mark Jones 10th, Daniel Beck 11th, 12th Jack Nichols, 13th Mark Gravett, 14th Ryan Gilmore, and 15th rounding out the points Raoul Pons.
So, the drivers who failed to finish, well, sorry, not failed to finish, but failed to score any points is Dave Carl Smith, 16th, and 17th, Prit Valier, 18th, RP McMurphy, 19th, Pedro Mellem, bit of a shame for him after a promising start, 20th, Matt Hagman, after a first lap incident, 21st, Michael Murphy. I'm not sure what happened to him, actually. I did check the replay and he just seemed to pull off the track, so perhaps he had some suspension damage, which is showing on the screen. 22nd, there's Francisco Gutierrez, who got his rear wheels on the grass going into turn 1, and that just basically spun the car into the wall and writing off the Vauxhall Astra. 23rd is Joaquin Perez. 24th, Alex Solzak. And our first retirement was Ivan Iglesias, our Season 4 champion.
That's definitely good, exciting racing going on there, and Canada worthy winner of that race, winning by a long way. Unfortunate that Nick Rowland had that spin and he ended up in 6th place still. And Barney Fox, a very good result in 2nd place. So he'll climb right at the championship standings, whilst 13th going into this race. But yes, again, this Road Atlanta track and this mod definitely bringing out good results. Let's have a quick breather, I think, and then we'll see if we can get any drivers in here just for a quick word before we wrap up the broadcast. Okay, and welcome back to the coverage we've got here of round 2 of GRC Season 7 Division 1 Championship. We've been joined by quite a few drivers here in the press conference room after the race. First of which we'll speak to Jack Keithley, winner of race 1. So Jack, how was race 1 for you? Obviously fighting all the way to the end.
Yeah, it was very tough. Eduardo Canaldi put up a really good fight to the finish there. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Shame that on the starts I was always just being left for dead really, but I managed to get my way back up there and get the win, so I'm very happy with that.
Definitely a good result. Your first win of the championship after a bit of disappointment for them at the end of the Laguna Seca races. You managed to hold on for the win, and is it definitely looking better for you think, for the rest of the season, and maybe some more Astra-suited tracks coming up?
Yeah, I'm just pleased that the football drive cars got a win for this season. Hopefully we can get a couple of more, and yeah, more football drive tracks to come.
Good news, seeing as I'm driving the Astra as well. There we go. We've also been joined by race 2 winner, and also the guy that came second in race 1, so very good meeting for you, Eduardo Canada. So tell us about your evening.
Good evening. Well, I'm really excited because it's the first win I get here at GRC. So, well, I was really surprised because at the first qualifying I didn't think I was going to be so fast. I tried to be clean, to not cut any turn, and surprisingly I was second, not third. And well, I found myself fighting for the victory in both races. Well, the first one was pretty tough with Jack Keithley. I didn't like a couple of things, but well, I'm happy with it. And the second one, it was with Roland, and well, I didn't know what happened to him because after the pit stop he wasn't there, and I just had to race until the end. I didn't know if Luke had stopped, so I was really hoping he was going to stop the last. So really happy.
Yeah, definitely congratulations for you. It's definitely going to move you right up the championship, the 2 results there. And any particular races that you're looking forward to in the future, and hopefully some repeats of these results?
I think I don't think I will fight for the championship because with the ballast it's more difficult, and there are really good drivers here, so I will be happy if I finish in the first 5 or so.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Eduardo. Definitely, again, a good result for tonight, and congratulations to you. Also joined in the box here by Nick Rowland. Nick had a very exciting second race. He was fighting for the battle all the way up to his pit stop. Then a longer pit stop and unfortunately a spin seemed to put you way out of contention. So Nick, how was the second race for you?
Second race started really well. I'm not too sure what happened the first few corners, but 3 cars seemed to be taken out turn 4 I think it was, and it was just a straight battle between me and Eduardo, and it was a brilliant battle we had up until about lap 12 when I made a pit stop, and came in absolutely fine, pitted, and it said it was 14 seconds, stopped for exactly 14 seconds, which I've been told was the normal time anyway. I came out of pit lane, and I don't know if Jack had stopped yet or not, but I went head to head with him and tried to go around the outside, and I don't know if it was him or the Astra's characteristics, but I tried to give him as much room as I could on the inside as I was going around the outside, even on the curb, and eventually the front left of his car just tapped me and I couldn't control it, and it sent me flying around, and by that time obviously I couldn't build regain that gap that I had on Eduardo. So it was, I think, 6th in the end for me.
Yeah, and unlucky result for you. Definitely showing good prospects though. I'm still looking for your first win of the championship. You think you can claim it in any of the rounds coming?
Well, I was so surprised actually to get up to second here, and I was battling with Eduardo. I thought this might have been the one. I was really confident actually, because the speed I had against him, but obviously he was pitting later. But I was very encouraged by the speed we had, and at one stage we were both pulling away. I think about a second a lap. The gap behind was out to something like 6 seconds. So I think both of us had very, very good pace today, and I'm just unfortunate that it just hasn't happened here. I think my next opportunity will probably be the Australian rounds, Oran Park and Adelaide.
Yeah, well, good luck for the rest of the championship for you. Also joined in the box by Ivan Iglesias today, champion of season 4 of the championship. Not the best weekend for you either, so anything you want to say about your 2 races over the weekend?
No, it was a difficult weekend. The first race was really difficult because of the start. I messed it up in the both qualifying, and starting on the more or less on the middle of the grid. There were two groups, and I could finish in the top of the second, but the first, which was between my teammate and Jack Keithley, they were really fast, but when Jack Keithley overtook my teammate, they slowed down a little bit, and I could catch them, but it was too late. But I was fighting with Ryan Gilmore, which was a really funny fight, and I let him by in the second in the penalty lap, and I overtook him in the last corner. So an exciting first race, but a really difficult second, because I had the same problem in qualifying, not a good lap. And on the second race, my race was almost over in the first lap, because I overtook more or less 6 cars in the start, but coming into the chicane, I was collected in a mess. 3 cars were involved, and I couldn't avoid them. So I think I'm comfortable with the car, and I really hope to make a good result.
Okay then, so that's all of the drivers we've got in the briefing now, so congratulations to everyone, and definitely the 2 race winners for tonight. Just a quick word with Mike Lamb. Have you got anything to say about the races we've seen this evening?
Well, I only caught race 2 today as I was at work, but very exciting racing, especially up the front between Nick Rowland and Eduardo Canada, and shame that at the end. And obviously a cheeky move today from Luke Van Camp, trying to exploit the rules, I think, slightly, although he's not actually breaking any, regarding the rule of the pit stop. Where he just came in and stopped in his box and go, whereas I think they're going to make it clear now, I think, in the GRC, it will be a mandatory tyre stop from now on, I believe. This is being discussed now, I think, so we need to keep an eye on that in the next race. And a quick update, Alex Olzak, he had a PC problem in the race 2. The PC actually rebooted itself, so that was unfortunate for him. And obviously, it was RP McMurphy that had a bit of contact with Michael Murphy on the last lap, I think, which caused him to retire. But other than that, it was very good indeed, and it's definitely nice to be commentating on the GRC again after a lengthy break.
Yeah, good to have you back in the box, Mike. So, looking at next week, we've got the Division 2 race here at Road Atlanta, same time, same place, PSR TV, and then 2 weeks' time, Division on the 2 weeks' time, October the 5th, we've got the Division 1 Championship Round 3, St. Petersburg, so staying in the United States of America, this time a street circuit, so it might bring tighter racing for the Astras possibly, with the good front grip. So anyway, that's the close future for the GRC, so thanks everyone for watching tonight. I hope you enjoyed the racing, I certainly did, and we'll see you next time out. So it's been a PSR TV production, and thanks very much for watching.